It is chiefly through reading and through thought about what we read that we come to see how our ideas depend on one another, very much as we are dependent upon others, or as organs in our bodies are interdependent. Through reading and reflection, we can learn to know ourselves. Reflect for a while on these words of Shakespeare. Thinking, he says, turns not to itself, till it has traveled and is mirrored there, where it may see itself. Some very good students of Shakespeare think that he wrote married, not mirrored, in line 110. Every idea with which we reflect is what it is, and can do what it can do only because our other organs of thought are what they are and do their own work. The parts of this bridge do what they do only because the other parts of it are there and are doing their work. And this is equally true of the words in a language. Every word is able to work as it does only because other words work with it. In every step we take, what any of our muscles can do depends on what our other muscles are doing, and all this is possible only because our nerve cells are in control. And nerve cells can work together well only if the blood is serving them well. And the blood can serve them well only if the heart is in good order, and if the lungs are taking in enough oxygen. And the heart and lungs in turn are dependent on the food the stomach can give the bloodstream, and on the control the nervous system can keep up over all the organs of the body. But in fact, the organization of our bodies is far more complex than this short and simple account can say. In everything we do, every breath we take, every motion we make, from the directing of our eyes as we look to the wording of a sentence as we write, billions of cells of every sort in our bodies are working together serving one another. It is the same with us and our world. Any great question coming up in any part of the world today has its effect on almost everyone, anywhere. As with the body, damage in any part is damaging to all the rest. The more we reflect upon this, the more we will understand why world organization is important. We are far more dependent upon one another than we know. What to do, said Confucius. In truth, I do not know what to do with a man who does not ask himself this. Wise people go on asking themselves what to do all their lives. It is two questions. 1. What should I want to be or to become? What is our end or purpose? We have seen how far we have come. Where are we going? 2. How can I best work to this end? Everything, said Aristotle, has its own true work or purpose, the work it can do best, the work which is right for it. A good wheel turns well. A good knife cuts well. A good clock keeps time well. A good apple tree gives good fruit. A good cow gives good milk. In the body, eye, hand, foot, each has its own work to do. What can we do best? What is our own work as a person? Is it to learn? To learn what? Is it to learn what to do? How does one learn? Is it by the feedback from the effects of what one does? Is it by seeing from the outcome whether one is doing the right thing? If you are trying to draw a circle, the curved line you have made keeps telling you how to go on. You can learn to draw better by trying. If you are making a speech, what will you go on to say depends on what you have said up to that point, and upon the people listening to you. A bad speaker is one of whom this is not true. A good speaker has learned by experience how to design a speech and how to change the design if necessary. In speaking, as in everything we do, the way we begin depends upon what our purpose is, upon what we are trying to do. But we are not always, nor need we be, fully conscious of what that purpose is. Sometimes, in reflection, we see more purpose than we knew in what we did. How you start your circle depends on how large it is to be. So there is feed forward as well as feedback. Feed forward is as widely supported a fact as feedback. Any number of examples can be found. There can be no feedback without feed forward. Knowledge of what you have done and are doing will not help you unless there is direction in what you are trying to do. You may not fully know what this direction is. You may be trying to find out what it is. As the development of the microscope has increased our power to see, so the development of instruments of thought is increasing our power to design and direct and see what we are doing. In every sentence you write, the feedback from the letters of any word you are writing, together with your knowledge of the spelling of the word, tells you which letter to write next. But feedback can do this only because you fed forward that word, and no other has the word you would write. And in writing any sentence, feedback from the words you have written can tell you what to write next only because you fed forward that sentence. And you fed forward that sentence only because of a more general feed forward, the purpose of the paragraph in which the sentence is to take part. And the paragraph, too, depends upon the chapter and the chapter on the book. General? What does this word mean? Each of these circles, as they go out from you, represents a more general idea than all that is within. Every breath we take is controlled by feed forward and feedback. If you want to be heard at the back of the room, you take a deeper breath as you speak. And why do you want to be heard? What part does what you have to say take in your larger purposes, and in the larger purposes still in which you take part? Before life came up out of the sea, it seems probable that there was no free oxygen or carbon dioxide in what is now the air. The gases necessary for life on land were put into the air, scientists think, little by living things themselves. What overall purpose is there of which all our purposes are parts? Here is a rough copy of one of the greatest works of William Blake. It represents design at work beginning to give order to the world. John Amos Comenius was, so far as we know, the first man to use pictures in books written for beginning readers and for beginners in a second language. He was to have been the first head of Harvard College, where this book is being written, but could not come. Comenius began his reader Orbis Pictus with this picture. The teacher is saying, "Come, boy, learn to be wise." And the boy asks, "What does this mean, to be wise?" The teacher answers, "To understand rightly, to do rightly, and to speak out rightly all that is necessary." The teacher gives the boy an answer, though he knows that no one can become wise all in a minute. All our lives through, we go on learning how to understand rightly, to do what is right, and to speak out at the right time. See the size of the question the boy is asking? In this book, we have not tried to give any answers, but only to bring together some of the more important ideas and facts needed if we are to ask ourselves what we should know and think and feel and desire and do. To have been wise is to have known, thought, felt, desired, and done as was best. But there are many different ways of knowing, thinking, feeling, desiring, and doing. Which are the best? That is the question. Our lives are our attempts to find an answer, and language is the most important of all our instruments for this purpose.